Hey there, it's me, Hito. Okay, well, I haven't been uploading in again quite a while, but that was mostly because I focused more on exercising, reading the Canonical magazine, and watching a bunch of anime. But now I have finally returned to bless your ears with my sweet, sweet voice. Yeah. Before we dive into it, don't forget to like and subscribe if you do enjoy the video, and with that being said, let's get right into it. Sorry for stopping the video so abruptly. Yeah, it's future Hitomi. I just wanted to wish you a happy New Year's, and I hope you had a great Christmas Eve and all that. I just wasn't able to do that in the video because I started the production on the video like a month ago or something like that. So yeah, I just wanted to throw this in, and now back to the video. Yeah, he for sure should be dead. As we all know, time traveling stuff is always complicated, no matter how logical or reasonable your theory might be. In this case, Shido indeed did die in the past, but kinda got revived in new timeline he and Kurumi created. But if we use the multiverse or timeline theory on this specific topic, then this could be rather much more interesting than it played out in the anime. Okay, let's have a heart-to-heart. There indeed is another Data Life timeline born from this incident, which is canon and will probably play a role soon. But don't you worry, in this video I just theorize what could happen in another timeline. So no spoilers here. Let's say Shido changing the past created a parallel timeline which coexists with the new timeline, just like the neighboring world. And in this parallel timeline, Shido simply just does not exist. What does this mean for Toka and Ko? Well, it's more complex to find out than what you might think it is. Because every spirit was and is connected to Shido. The only spirit who to this very day is independent is Kurumi. And that's pretty much it. So I assume that cause Origami's parents did not die from her future self and died a year later in a car accident would mean that in my parallel timeline, Origami would also split her personality into good and bad memories. Here we gotta consider that there's no Shido or other spirits around this time, meaning that Origami would go on spirit rampages more often and eventually would give in to her other time personality. Kotori would still be in charge of the Fraxness, but without Shido, had no idea how they could stop spirits without using war force on them. Which means in my parallel timeline, the AST would be much more capable and have much more fighting experience and actually be up to match a double A spirit in power and speed. Meaning that spirits like Yoshino without Shido around would die because she is just too weak to fight back. Spirits like Toka, the Yamais and Miku would also have a much harder time defending themselves from the battle experienced AST and DM forces. The only spirits who'd still be unreachable for the AST would be the S classes like Kurumi and Mukuro. With this out of the way, let's focus on what could happen in his story without Shido. Like I mentioned earlier, Origami giving into her previous dark memories would result in her losing her alternative memories and become a full-fledged inverse spirit with no way to return. Since none of the spirits are close or attached to Origami in this parallel timeline, this would mean that Origami is free to destroy and kill as much as she wants to. The only instance where I think that one of the other spirits could actively interrupt Origami's rampage would be Kurumi or Toka, if she so happened to materialize via a spatial quake in this specific area. Kurumi in this case would make much more sense though, because she actively tries to save the world in her own twisted way. But since there never was Shido, Kurumi might prefer to find a solution in the present rather than using your bad. Meaning, a serious fight between old inverse Origami and Kurumi could happen for sure. According to official stats of the two, it is kinda obvious which of them would take the dub. And no, I'm not saying stuff like, oh, but Kurumi manipulates time and therefore has much bigger advantage and she's very experienced also. Guys, I love Kurumi just like you all do, but let's face facts. If the bullets won't reach its target, she's pretty limited in her ability to fight back. Considering that inverse Origami might overall be at least as fast or faster than Kurumi, meaning that even her clones as a backup might not be enough to obliterate Origami. It's highly possible that inverse Origami would win in this particular fight, especially since she is a double S class spirit. Of course, if someone like Toka, like I mentioned earlier, would interfere and fight on Kurumi's side, things would end very differently. But in a one-on-one standoff, Kurumi would have bad cards. It's just as simple as that. But of course, Kurumi won't die, that's for sure, because she could use her shadow to escape. So after years after their fight, the world could be an actual wasteland. Society as it once was would cease to exist due to inverse Origami's rampage all over the world. The only thing I could imagine where the story from here could go further would be if Kurumi, out of all people, forms a sort of resistance and explains the situation to the remaining survivors. This would start off as a journey for Kurumi to find more capable resistance fighters and new spirits to join her cause of defeating the threat that inverse Origami poses, and therefore also forming an alliance with Kotori and Rekadista, since they are the only ones still trying to defend and locate survivors from inverse Origami. Yup. That all sounded hella out of nowhere, and I know it sounds ridiculous, but I mean, it could be interesting, no? Maybe I expand on that idea further someday. If you liked the video, please write down your opinion on this topic in the comments down below, and with that being said, till next time!